Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Anthony and this is Aquascaping on the Fly Living Art Creations. This is a video that, only because I love you guys am I doing this video right now. The Rainbow Series is what we're going to talk about. You saw the thumbnail. I've already disclosed on there that I've made a lot of mistakes with this series that I hyped up so much myself. It's embarrassing. I have literally debated in my mind, was I going to show, I knew I was going to show you the realism. I always show you realism, but I was like, oh my God, how am I going to frame this? How am I going to frame this and make me not look like a total idiot? So it's kind of like, well, let's start out by saying this. The Rainbow Series now is 8 weeks old. Now, for those of you who've been watching the series, you know, I produce most of these videos in advance, all at the same time, up until this one. So your videos have been playing out every single week, getting you up to this point. We are right now, we've just entered into January. Today is the 3rd of 2026. So I got my alert on my phone yesterday that the tanks were 2 months old, and I thought, okay, now is the time to pull the trigger on this embarrassing video, because I've done a lot of things that I was trying to avoid, and things that I rushed, and things that I got overzealous on, and we're going to see the full effect of that. But first I want to go over the fact about our water parameters. Now, if you watched the video that I had downloaded from last week, it was water parameters in the tanks themselves, in our existing tanks. That's the Trinity series, Tree of Life, Blackfish, and then our small bowls. The exciting news on there is that we're finally seeing not so much of a big creep up in the GH and the KH. I was able for the first time, and I could not be more excited to announce on that video that for the first time I was not having to do a 2-week water change in Blackfish and also Tree of Life, because their numbers have not creeped up that much. So it's kind of like it started to hold its own. And then even the ones that I did do, little bit more than a 50%, no, it was more like a 40%, between a 35 and a 40% water change was in the Trinity series. Now, they're my 10-gallon tanks, and they do creep up rather quickly in them, but not as much as the bowls. So I did make that really strong analogy to where, you know, the whole point about having the bowl aquarium was something we could do for someone much younger in the hobby to get them excited. A bowl that needed no technology, but I'm having to do weekly water changes, because remember, I'm getting everything from Mother Nature. I'm not buying any supplies to go into that. So that's how we were able to have one of those bowls come in only at $16, because even the vessels themselves were thrifted. So everything was either thrifted, a reused plant from somewhere else that I cut a snip off, or plants that I actually did order specifically for the build. And what drove one of them up was 3G, because I had some cryptocorin in there that I wanted to try in an aquarium, and it was a little on the expensive side for what I like to pay for plants. So the exciting news is that for the first time, I was able to do 3 minor water changes in the Trinity series, and then continue my more than 50 to 70% water change in the bowls, because they require more drastic water changes to keep their parameters more level. Because remember, it's not the number you're chasing, it's the fact, are you keeping your water parameters in balance? And I did want to correct myself on an item that I talked about in the bowls. I had talked about 3G is the only one that gave a live birth. That's not true. Last night, when I was doing cleanup after I released the video, I had my binoculars on with my light vision, and there is a baby inside of Pink. Now, I had not even noticed if there was anyone pregnant inside of pink for the entire time. Someone gave birth, because I found at least one baby in there, and it looks really, really clear, and it may have red markings on it. So there's another sign. Those tanks are historically always at the top of the GH and KH range. And if they're breeding naturally on their own, we know that we're still in line, because I like to top my GH off at about 10, because I know I'm having breeding going on, and sometimes even in blackfish right here, it would be at a 10, but I've had successful breedings in it. And as a side note, if you guys check the post on the channel, I just spotted there's a pregnant female in a blackfish. So that's really exciting. This is going to be its second birth, and I am super, super excited about that. But let's get to the Rainbow series, and I kind of wanted to go over their water parameters. That kind of was like I didn't have enough room on yesterday's video to do it, but we're going to do it now. So we know we're in cycle, because I'm getting nitrate numbers. So we know we're in the nitrogen cycle. But this is where we really have a huge departure on what some of the numbers are. My lowest GH is 18, and that's in the yellow tank right here in the middle. And it goes up to 23. So my range is 18, 20, 21, and 23. So they're all different except for two of them. And then for KH, I go from 8 up to 13. And my TDS is off the chart. It's all around 350 to 500. And no ammonium, no nitrite, and we're looking at nitrate. We're getting a reading in all of them, but in 3 of them, which we have the highest GH, we're at 160 ppms, and that's when you need to do a major water change. Now, so one of the things that I wanted to disclose now that we've talked about the water. All right, so you guys know I'm a flight attendant. I have a cold right now. You may not be able to tell. Some of you may tell. It's in my voice. It's day 3. Quit flying sick. That's all I have to tell you. Quit flying sick, because you get us sick. Or please wear your mask. But my holiday schedule for November and December is a lot more than usually during the rest of the year, because there's just so much more flights. And so I have been away, which is why I pre-recorded all of your videos in the Rainbow series as much as I could, so you would have a video releasing every single Saturday. Okay, well, there's a downside to that. That means I'm not here to work on my tanks. Just for an example, I was gone 5 days on the trip I just got in from, and I have 2 days off. And so yesterday I spent with the other tanks, and today I'm going to be spending with this tanks, and then prepping for tomorrow's trip, which is another 3-day trip, because most of my trips are like 3 days. So I haven't been here as often as I normally am to where I can focus on a routine for the tanks. So the Rainbow series, because they've been in cycle, they've been getting lack attention. I had been focused on the other tanks and doing GH, KH, and TDS readings every 2 days if possible. And if I can't, then I do it when I come in from a trip. And then I've been logging that in because I want to see where the creep up is actually happening. So that's why it was exciting in the tanks that I did yesterday on yesterday's video, which would be last week for you, is that we see a slowdown finally, which is kind of nice in those tanks. But unfortunately for Rainbow, I've just let them run. They've just been running. I put more food in there to make sure that we keep the cycle going, but their numbers are off the chart. And another thing I did, you guys saw the video, I'm sure, where I did all the planting. I put my fertilizer tabs, which I used a different variety, and I burned out every stem plant in every single tank. And I am crushed because I was raised on a farm. I know about over-fertilizing, and I went with the mindset. I had been using the API root tabs, And those are the larger ones. And what I don't like about them is when you need to break them up and put them into an existing tank, they start fizzing right away. They start dissolving right away when they hit the water, and then you need to get them under the gravel. Well, I've had stem plants in the other tanks, the existing ones, that just have not been growing. I thought, okay, well, maybe the root tabs are just not that effective. So I switched to another brand. And this other brand, they're smaller and thicker, and I'll probably put in the video a link so you can see what I was using. I can't remember the name of it. But it was another brand. They're gray and white, but they're small little pellets. And I put those in there. Well, I guess I put too much in there, or they're too potent, or the fact that a lot of this has a very shallow substrate, and so they were right at where the roots are. And literally, the only plant that I have left, and I have added a Nubius into all these because they looked horrible and I couldn't stand looking at them. So I found some Nubius on Amazon on sale. I have not touched any of these tanks. I've not cleaned them. They have been running like this for 2 full months. But you can see I have all this death in here. And when we get to the other ones, you will see all the stem plants. If you go back to the video where we did the planting, all the stem plants were in every single tank. They're all gone now. They're all dead. Now, I haven't cut out the dead yet because I'm hoping that maybe some of them will come back to life. But if it doesn't look like they're going to, then that's just going to be my bad. And we're just going to, if I have to, I will reorder select versions of it, because I don't know how long it's going to take those fertilizer tabs to actually dissolve completely. If I went to put something else in there, it may die as well. Also, there has been an outbreak of Blackbeard in the red tank on the top. I am leaving it because it's just on the structure. So I'm leaving it in there. I'm not going to mess with it or anything like that. And I believe that my little 5-watt fountain pumps are too rigorous for these enclosures. They're moving things around way too much. They're dislodging plants. And I think going forward today, when I do the water change and take the pumps out and the tanks get their first cleaning, I believe I am not going to put the pumps back in. And I'm just going to run them the way they are. Now, I've been having really, really good luck with my bowls. My bowls, the water clarity is there, and the shrimp do not seem to mind not having, the motion. But there's also not plants in there like Boost that like that motion to help them attach to something. So the one I'm kind of concerned about is my blue, which I wanted to show you. You can see it right here. This is the one that's blue. Now, because I couldn't find any blue plants, I ordered some blue crystal. These are natural blue crystal chips. And it came in a container like this. So if you guys can see the blue in there, okay, I think it looks amazing. And I thought, okay, if I can't get plants that are in there that the color I want, I know I can go back to their website and I can get chips that are quartz in any color that I want. And so that I'm kind of excited about. I'm still holding off hope on my shrimp that, am I going to have to buy every single color? I hope not. Especially when we talk about the blue. I just now have, it's blue, I think it's diamond, blue diamond. It's the darkest blue of the Neo shrimp. I had 2 moms in bird on a wire pregnant at the same time. One of them died and was not able to give birth, so she stressed out somehow. Now, this would have been their first cycle for each one of them. They were juveniles. And so when she died, I was crushed. I was really crushed. When I lose a shrimp, it's like I treat them as my children because I'm wanting their water parameters to be so well kept in that they breed on their own and I don't intervene. The only thing I intervene on is when we've got a tank that has a specific color that we're trying to keep pure. So you guys know that when you've seen my posts or my updates or whatever, I'm trying to show you the colors that are showing up in the tanks that came from Blackfish's former shrimp, which was the Blue Dream. And everyone that's familiar with the channel knows that Blue Dream, those original parents, gave birth to 3 different colors of shrimp. Not what they look like, but something completely different. We're talking black and clear, ruby red, and pale aqua. So those 3 colors have all been paired off and put into other tanks by themselves to see what their offspring will look like. Can they reproduce? So in Tree of Life, it's where the black ones are. They've had their first birthing, and I've got 5 that range the same thing, from really clear to solid black and striped. Love it. It's amazing. The ruby reds, I am not seeing any new rubies being born, which is unfortunate because maybe that's a color that I cannot produce again. What's being born are ones that are blue, like a very pale aqua. So they're going into Turtle in Motion, which is the ones that have the pale color. And then I purchased the dark blue for Bird on a Wire. So it's had its first birthing. So we have new shrimp in all the tanks that have shrimp in them. And that does now include 2 of the bowls, which is exciting because that's where you want your water parameters to make sure that your shrimp they're enjoying themselves and they're breeding on their own without our intervention, and I'm not setting it up as a breeding tank. They're just doing it on their own, and that's what I like. I don't want to be hands off. So what I want to do now is we're going to do a close-up of the tank, and then anything that pops into my head, I'll say about the tank and how embarrassing it is. And from their point, we are going to drain. We're going to start with the top 3 highest, the ones at the 160 ppm on the nitrate, because they need the largest water change. And I've already got my water ready. I prepped my water, my RO water, last night. So the ones that have like, red has the highest GH. It's at 23. So if we did half of a water change, we would still be over the max, which is where I want to stay, is at 10. So we need to do a 75% water change for those tanks to see then going forward how often we have to change before it creeps back up again. Because remember, whatever is in the substrate is going to stay in the substrate as far as those sediments and minerals. We're only able to take out the water portion of it. So whatever's been seeped in is going to stay in. That's one thing that's important to note. But I'm glad you're with me today. Even though I've got a cold, I feel better than I did yesterday. And I did your video yesterday on the other water parameters, and I just felt like, oh. But today I feel so much better. So thanks for joining me today and listening to me rant and rave. And yes, for the last several episodes, I've been wearing a hat. Those of you who noticed, I am trying to grow my hair out. So it's kind of this transitional stage, but we'll see if it works. It's a lot more work at work, you know, because most of us all have really, really short hair for the guys, because it's just easier that way. You have to wake up at 2 a.m. in the morning. You don't want to mess with your hair. I can't imagine what it would be like being a female that has long hair. Oh my God, I couldn't do it. Anyway, so thanks for joining me today, and let's get right into the tanks. Okay, so here we are. Thank goodness I make notes because I forget stuff all the time. Now, yeah, it just looks so sad. Okay, so if you remember, there was the I always screw this up. Alternantheria red broadleaf. Yes. Okay, so that I ordered, and it is completely gone. It was behind the entire wood structure. It was the width of the entire tank. What I have added recently is the Anubias on the left, because everything died out, and I have placed in there some dwarf hairgrass. We are doing a nod to the original dwarf hairgrass videos that are so popular on my channel. But you can tell this tank is so ready when we get those water parameters in there and get them done for shrimp in there to gobble this up. I'm thinking I might even put my one, oh shoot. Okay, I just went blank. My one shrimp, the biggest one, okay, it'll come back to me in a minute. But the one thing I hate about this is that, okay, the tannins are super, super heavy in there, so you can't even see what's going on really. And it needs a major cleaning. The pump on this one, you can tell it's got a lot of water action, and the pump is packed. The pump is shoved up in there in the corner, and it's impacted. So here's what 2 months looks like for the red. Now, red is going to be one of the ones that is going to get, it's a major water change, because red is the highest on the list at 23 GH. KH is at 13, and 160 nitrates. So it's at the max for the testing on it. So it needs this one needs a definite massive change. So we do at least 75% on this one. So this one's going to get 75%, which means I need to remark the tanks for their water changes, because right now they're marked at different levels, and in case I needed to perform a change, but I haven't done one yet. This is going to be the first water change. The second one that needs its water change is going to be orange and violet. Well, violet is right next to it. So let's switch over to violet. Sofa's in the way. There we go. Okay. Now, violet had the hydrophilia scalifolia purple. And now, okay, so it initially did really well. And so I cut it back and replanted some of it, which did not do well. It has had the butterfly Anubias on the right base. That came out of Blackfish when I decided to turn it back into its minimalist look. If you see floating in there, there's a dead leaf in there. I just really have not done anything to these tanks. Number one, it bummed me out that they look horrible, and I don't even want to mess with them. So yes, I've been ignoring them, but they've been doing their cycling and they're overdue. So I'm gonna have to get in there and really do some cleanup. But this plant wasn't doing bad. It was just way too big. I was thinking when this plant showed up, it was huge. It was already at the top of the water level. And I was like, oh my God, it's going to be too big. So I put 2 of them in Garden of Eden, which they're growing fine in there. But I'm trying to see if these other stems, these are hard stems. They did not die off originally like everybody else did. But when I cut them back, they're having a really hard time readjusting. Like I cut the tops off, the tops off, and they're in the back. They're not dead, which is good. That's what I want. I want them to be okay. But you can see they've got some algae burn here. I think I just coined that name, algae burn, because it's on the tops of some of the rocks. So yeah, we've got to get something. We've got to get some shrimp in here to start taking care of this, and some snails. So here's another one that we'll have to do at least a 75% swap on it. Now remember, this one looked like to me a scorpion out of the movie Transformers. With its massive growth of biofilm, it doesn't even look like a scorpion anymore. It's just completely grown all the way down to the base of it. So it doesn't even have that texture left on it that it had originally. So I know these are all going to snap out of it and they're going to be better. It's just we got to go through the process. The third one then is orange. So let me reconfigure you. Okay, I can't tell you how perfect this is. I haven't even tested this before, but my tripod on the lowest setting, flawless for viewing this tank as well on the bottom. Now, this one is orange, and what surprises me about this one is that it has the clearest looking water, and it has the one of the highest numbers. So this one came in at 21 GH and 8 KH. And 160 ppms on like the other two for the nitrate. Now, the stem plants on this one are all gone. there is absolutely nothing left on the stems. So I went a little heavier with dwarf hairgrass and my Anubias that I put in there. There are a couple of boosts that keep coming dislodged, and I think that's going to be another reason why when I pull the pumps out of there, hopefully they'll be a lot better. Oh, and also, so you guys know, this strip lighting is my favorite lighting that I'm using. I'll give you a pop-up. It's actually the exact width of these tanks, which is amazing. But when I have to go in there and do anything, that light is always in my way, or the cords are in my way. So I'm going to do what I have on the other side of the wall, and I'm going to tape the lighting to the bottom side of the shelf above it, so it's going to shine down on it. The only one I can't do that will be the top row, and I can't decide if I'm going to leave them like they are or if I'm just going to go with like a pendant light to hang over it. I like the fact that the lighting is consistent across all of them. But the one nice thing is this plant that sits in this one, and now you know it, so the stems all died out and they were planted all over, so there are root tabs all in that substrate. It has not affected that plant, so the stems were just way too delicate for the fertilizer I used, and that was my fault. That's one thing that, you know, I hate that I did, but I don't know, maybe there's happy accidents, I don't know. So let me see, since we're on this row, let's go ahead and switch over to blue. And here you can get a really close-up look at my gravel. Now blue, because we couldn't do blue, I decided I was going to do the boosts on driftwood. It's not working out the way I had planned because there weren't as many crevices to plant into it. Most of them have to be at the top, which I don't like, but I love the curvature of it. The rock that it's being held in place at the base is too lightweight, so it does get knocked over. So when I go in and clean this one, it's gonna move around a lot. I did add the dwarf hairgrass, which in this one you really cannot see as it's not pronounced. A couple of the Anubias. Most of the boosts are doing okay. You can tell they're too close to the lighting. They don't like it. And I've grown enough boosts that I know that I need to get this one off of the tank level and put it on the shelf, on the base of the shelf above it, because it's just too close to it. But can you see how, when I was talking about the gravel, this gravel, I just love this. So this may be my go-to when I want to add color into the other tanks that don't look like the color I want them to look like. Now, the numbers for blue was at a 20 GH, a 12 KH, and a 395 TDS. And this one, though, is at the base where it needs to be. According to AI, for your ppms on your nitrate, you don't want really anything over a 20. This one came in at 5. And the tank we're going to get next came in right on the money. So let's go up to yellow. Okay, so now we're at yellow, and yellow was so disappointing from the day I put it together because the sunken giant fell apart. The day after I had him in there, one day he fell apart. So his head fell off. He became unglued at both locations, and I had to put him back together inside the tank, and I hated it because I lost the angle of him. I still like it. I think it's really cool looking, but I thought the way it was before, more light shined on the fact that the giant is stepping over a waterfall, and I thought that was kind of cool. This is the only build where some of the original stem survive. So yellow had Rotala Red Cross. So it's the only one that has tried to come back. Oh, so the one that was in blue, no, I'm sorry, blue, violet. Oh yeah, we talked about the hydrophilia. And so this is it. These are the only two tanks. Violet and yellow are the only ones that had the stem plant survive. And yes, I've added, when I ordered the Anubias, I sprinkled them into every single one of the builds just because I was that irritated that I lost all my color. But the yellow is coming in at GH at 18, 9 on KH, and 395 on TDS, and at 5 on nitrate. So that one, and oh, I'm sorry, yellow was 20. That's it. Okay, so that covers all of them. You can tell they all have their biofilm growing out nicely. I'm at I don't know. I know when I want to when I get the lighting out of there and when I drain them down, I may change my mind about how I'm going to clean them. I may go in and just trim everything off and then try to pull it out as much I can when I'm doing the cleaning, especially of the walls. And I just hope I don't do any more damage to them. So I'm going to take, since we have the two tanks at the top, at the highest, I'm going to start at the top. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and I'm going to drain them down, take them into the kitchen to where I have a workspace. And then that's where I'll try to see if I can set up the camera so you can see what kind of cleaning I'm going to do to them once the water level has been pulled down. And then it's fairly quickly on these tanks to fill the water back up again. So stay tuned, hang on just a hot minute. Excuse me. Okay, so here we are. This is Violet. And just for the sake of being consistent, I'm just going to do a 75% water change in all the tanks. I'm just going to go across the board with it. And let's see, I want to make sure, okay, that you can see everything. I've got my tools here to see if there's any cut. Yeah, there's some cutting that we need to do. These lower leaves right here. The lighting was just too intensive right here. I could see at the top where it looked like it looks like what I would call light burning, where it burned things. All right, so here's the piece that, well, that's just mush. That one also needs to come out. Here's one that was stuck at the top. Here's another one. Okay, do you see this? See this brown spotting right there? Let me zoom in for you. Yeah, sorry about the reflection there, but you can see there's like brown spotting algae all on the tops of the rock. So the lighting is just, this lighting was right, it was right on top of the tanks. I thought it would be okay, but apparently it's too much. And let's see, here's some of my fish food or shrimp food that I put in to get the nitrogen cycle going. There's some debris. The dwarf hairgrass is doing fine. I can't say the same for the butterfly. It's got some black on it. Let's see. what happens if I no, it's not coming off. But it is dislodging other dead leaves. Okay, so from the tops, these guys look fine. They're just short. Nothing wrong with that. I took out, well, so here's the one that died. Got that crap there. Okay, let's do a little cleaning. So there's what it looks like. Now remember, this one didn't have a really heavy tannin finish on it because the rocks in here are pretty, light colored. So the glass isn't as dirty as you might expect when we get to like the red one. But you can still see where the leaves of these plants and the rocks that got the brunt of the high intensity lighting really have been discolored. All right. Now I have, just in case, these little tiny sponges that I cut up for the bowls. And so I'm just going to go in here and just make sure. Okay, there's nothing on there. Okay. I just want to make sure we're getting everything off that we can. Okay, look at the difference. Here's the side that's on the sun. Here's the side that's not a sun, the light. Okay, little dwarf hairgrass came out. Let's get that put back in. Okay, I'm going to wipe it down. Okay, on to red. Okay, now we're in red. Oh, here, this one is sad because you can see how much space I left behind the build for the plants, and there's absolutely nothing left. This was full. This was solid. I killed them completely. Wow. Yep, I had one right here. Oh, that is too bad. I was hoping these might come back, but nope. I think that's it. All right. Let's see how this one looks. Yes, here you go. There's your dirty tank. This one is the one that the structure I said looked like an angel wing. It's like half of an angel wing. go to town on this one. I hate dislodging my dwarf hair grass, but you know, from my dwarf hair grass videos, I talk about that a lot. When I clean it, I'm trying to get right down to the substrate. All right, let's dwarf hair grass. Okay, I think we're all right. Okay, so now we're into yellow, which technically did not need a drastic of a water change as that I decided to do, but that does not look good, does it? Look at that. Luckily, it has a new root on it, but this needs to come off because that is not happy. Okay, I have to remember to put that back in. That one's not even planted. And that one's just dying. All right. Yeah. These are all dying where they are planted. unfortunately. So maybe this plant is just taking longer to die than the rest. All right, so let me recut their ends. Rinse them off. I don't know if this is going to save them or not. We'll give it a try. Oh wow, this one's going to end up being super short. Okay. There's another one. So apparently I was incorrect about this one surviving. It just hasn't died all the way. Except those two on that side. Okay. Oh, wow. Oh. I'm not going to expect them to grow, but it would be amazing if they did. Okay, I need to wash the sides down before I plant them. Or try to re-establish them back into the giant. Ooh, heavy, heavy tannins. Oh, there goes his head again. Poor thing. Oh, and look at that. Look at the part that's in the sunlight. That's definitely burning. So he's not a drowning giant, he's a burning man. Wow, okay, yeah. This one's the worst so far. And for those of you that are new, the stuff that's at the top of your tank when it's new, that biofilm, don't worry about that. It literally goes away, or it always has in my tanks. It goes away on its own. I was cleaning mine at first, trying to get the biofilm off before I had shrimp in there, and now I wish I just always had just left it alone, because I created a lot more stress and work for myself. Now I'm going to try and introduce a bunch of snails to this as well, so they can get in here and start the cleaning process. And trust me, you don't have to buy snails. They just end up coming off of stuff. Okay, oh, that's not good. I have to move something to get that clean. Yeah, wow. Ugh. So why don't I use the sponge first? Because I want to see what's coming off. And you don't necessarily get to see it on the sponge. Not like you can on a white paper towel. This is just a precaution. Stop it. All right, let's clean that one more time. Okay. Now what needs to come out still? Of course, we'll see a lot more when we go to put the new water in. That's when everything starts to float up and you can see what you missed. It's got roots. Okay, well that's got roots, but it's some long straggly thing. So we're going to do two things. We're going to cut it, replant it, and replant this one. That one came out too. That one has a root on it. One. You can see it. See right there? So originally I wanted a grouping in the back corner. So we're going to replant the back corner if these will grow. All right, so the next time we look at this one, we will know if we were successful or if they're still in, just stages of dying. Okay, onward. Okay, so now we're in blue, and the nice thing about the blue is that I could take the structure completely out and work on it because it's a standalone. Let's look at the root structure here. Let's wash these off. Same thing as we saw before. Look at the dying off here. We'll cut those out. There is new growth though. That is nice. Okay, I'm loving that. You can see, you just can't, it's in there, the dwarf hairgrass is in there, there's very little of it though, and it's just hard to see. I think it's because of the coloring. Now I'm just snipping these roots off like I did on the other one. All right. just rinsing them up. I got one of the tanks is draining right now in the sink. Okay, so now that's what we have. Not bad. Okay. Let's do a wipe down. Yeah, we expect this one to be rather dirty because it is just one large piece of hardscape. Yeah, look, there's what it's going to be right there. Let's move this rock a little bit. When you're designing your structure, I mean, think about how easy this one is compared to the other ones, because you can take out the hardscape. Now granted, when the hardscape is in there, it's barely in there because the weight that I put, because these tanks are so much smaller, I did not account for that. And so I was putting hardscape in that was probably too big, but also I could not put mega rocks on it to hold it in place. So that's another downside. So you want to at least consider that a little bit. I did not. Okay, there you go. Let me take a look at the, okay. Make sure I'm not going too low on the last tank. This one originally did have a stem plant that I was going to get for it, but now I'm glad I didn't, because now I know it would just die like the rest. Okay. So the nice thing about this one is there's really no other dead to clean out of it. We just cleaned that root off of the Anubias. It's going to help this one not to have a pump in it to agitate the water, because the Boost was having a really hard time staying where it was. All right, now there's a little one that fell off. So this one, since I know it's going to always be a problem, I'm gonna rinse this one off a little bit, see what's going on with it. There's a possibility this one is completely, oh yeah, it's dead. This one's mush. All right. Okay, so we'll leave the others alone. I'll get this one put back in its place, and we'll work on the last tank. Okay, so now we're on the last one. This is orange. Just pull that out. This is supposed to have been wedged in, but it doesn't want to stay. The Boost never wants to stay where it is. Okay, it is getting some roots. I had my doubts about it when it went in there. Here's the other piece to it. Okay, getting new leaves though. That's okay. Apparently the plant that was in here, which I loved by the way, it had such a great look, just disintegrated. Because there's not much in here to pull out. There's a little remnant right there. Yeah, I had very delicate little leaves. And that's it. And there was a bunch in here. Yeah, they just fell apart. Or when I put water back in, it's going to float. Maybe it'll float to the top. And I shake it up a little bit. Ah, here's another boost. The dwarf hairgrass is still in there. Pull out some of this old food. Yeah, very little, just tiny pieces of the plant. That's it. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, let's cut it. I don't expect it'll do anything. I mean, because it looks dead all the way around. But we'll see. It's the only one that I see. Yeah. All right. Let's do a little wipe down. See what we got going on. Oops. Not bad. And remember, that's just from one little stick, because everything else is rock. right. Okay, I don't think I dislodged my dwarf hair grass. Let's look at our booze. Do a little cutting here. See if we can encourage some growth. That one's okay. Do a little cut. Ooh, that's rotted off. Oh no. This one is rotted. Okay. That's 2 of them we found like that. Let me wash that and see. Okay, I see a piece of green root. I'm going to take this damaged leaf off. Ooh. Oh, look at this one. This one's growing roots here instead of off the rhizome down there. All right, I'm going to wash the stick off because it has an exterior thin bark that is loosening. And if I can catch it and peel it and then put it back in, it'll look better. Okay. What I did was I was able to peel the bark back to right here. So now this is all going to be smooth. Well, it will be now. It's not ready to come off on this side. The nice thing is this is just loose in there. So we can just pull it out to clean it. All right. Now it sits perfectly on there like that. It was glued at one time, but it won't stay glued. And then I do not know if my little boost is going to do anything in here, because it requires them to like stay put, and they don't want to stay put. Okay, I have this crevice right here, but even this one is too big to place in there, and that one is too big. You guys know I love to take advantage of when, well, I could put one at the base. Oh, it pulls apart. Well, guess what? Okay, now that's going to be held into place because it just pulled right apart for it. And so then we'll put it right here, and then this one that's coming out, we're going to put it at the back underneath, and maybe the base of it will be held in place. Now the one thing is, this is so lightweight. I don't want to put any weight on it. I don't want to glue it. I just want it to be like the Beatles. Let it be. Okay. All right. Let me get these in place and get them watered up, and you can get your final look. Okay, so here they are. I've got them all filled back up again. I filled them up really, really slowly, so I would not disturb anything, and I'm so glad I did. I had very little float up, which is really, really nice. Even the dwarf hairgrass stayed pretty much intact. And I reconfigured the lighting a little bit because the lighting was too intense before. Now, the middle shelf and the bottom shelf have the original micro strips, but because I cannot use those on the tanks because they're too powerful at the top, I'm just having to use generic grow lights. So I don't like the fact that, yeah, the coloring is not the same, but I'll just live with that. But let me give you a closer look. They all look so much better than they started out. So it's nice to have them cleared out. They look really vacant to me now, like there's so much void space in them just because the stem plants are, I cut everything out. But that was red. Here's your violet. And these ones here in the back are doing fairly well. But I did remove some dead ones out of there. And you can see some black on the leaves there because the lighting was just too intense on top. This is our combined yellow and green. And you can see here's where we replanted the ones we had available from the original. So we'll see if those actually, you know, are able to take off. And then here is orange. And I think orange, we ended up with one tiny little plant over here in this corner, one little bit piece of it. And then here is blue, which looks so much better now. And you can see there's very little, I haven't cleaned these out. That's all that came to the top, which is amazing. It is kind of weird that I don't have any pumps in there, but I'm gonna try this for a while, see how I like it. So I hope this helps, especially if you're new into this and you're worried about how to do it. We just kind of work things out as we go along. I hope you guys enjoyed this and it's relevant for you. And until either the next video update or you see me on one of your flights, if you're flying somewhere, I'm wishing you guys nothing but love and light and great days ahead, and tank on. Have a great day. Bye-bye.